بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واعلموا أنما غنمتم من شيء فأن لله خمسه وللرسول ولذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Dear brothers and sisters, we have been explaining the rules of Khums. There are a few issues left to be explained. Now, without further explanation and in order to mention the exact issues, I would like to tell you that if you are going to invest your money and your income on a business, the money which is used for investment is liable to Khums. Now, it could be any kind of investment. You might be investing in a stock exchange, you might be investing on anything. So the resources, the money which you are going to use for investment should be purged, should be purified in terms of the Khums liability. It is necessary that you should give 1/5 of the income of the money which you are going to invest as Khums. Now, there is one important question normally asked by people, and that is, you have a certain amount of money which you have kept in your bank account. For example, you had $10,000 last year, and in this year you still have $10,000 and there is no increase. Of course, the previous $10,000 were used by you either for daily expenses or somehow they were used. But the previous $10,000 were purified in terms of Khums liabilities. You had paid Khums on that amount of money. Now, there is no increase in your amount and there's no increase in your balance. You still have got $10,000 in your bank account. So there's no doubt that there is no Khums on that amount because there's no increase. Of course, if there is an increase, Khums should be paid only from the increase, not from the existing balance, which was $10,000. Khums is paid only on the increase, only on the excess amount. If Khums has been paid on something once, Khums is not paid on it again. There is no Khums, no liability. If you are going to go on a journey, for example, you are under the obligation to go on a Hajj journey, a pilgrimage, of course, the amount which you are going to use and the expenses of Hajj or the expenses of ziyarah, even though ziyarah is a mustahab act, but the expenses of ziyarah are a part of your annual expenses. It's not necessary to give khums from the amount of money which you are going to use for ziyarah or for buying souvenir, because sometimes you buy souvenirs, sometimes you buy gifts for your relatives and for your friends. Now you go on a journey, maybe you go on a Hajj journey or you go on ziyarah and you come back home, so you buy something for your relatives as gifts, as souvenirs. Now these prizes, these gifts and everything that you buy and which you like to give to your relatives as gifts are considered to be a part of your annual expenses. There is no khums on the amount of money which you are going to spend for buying these things, nor on those things which you are going to gift to people. There is an important question asked by people, and that is, if you are going to prepare the dowry for your daughter, and of course you cannot afford to buy the things within a year, you have to buy it over a period of years. And since you cannot afford, and it's also unbecoming of you not to prepare anything for your daughter, because in common view you are under the obligation to prepare something as dowry, as jahaz for your daughter. If you cannot do it in a year and with the income and asset that you earn within this year, and you have to do it over a period of time, over a period of years, then there is no khums on that amount or on that thing which you buy from the market for your daughter's dowry. This is the fatwa of most of the ground religious authorities, and there's nothing to worry. Of course, I know that there are hundreds and thousands of people who are poor and who cannot afford to buy and to prepare the dowry within a year and within a short time and with the income of a single year. Of course, they have to buy it within several years, because in some cultures the dowry is a great burden, and it's a responsibility of the father to prepare the dowry for his daughter. Then in this case, of course, if he cannot do it within a year, he can do it within several years, and there's no khums on the money which he is going to use to buy such things as dowry for his daughter.
يا دافع الخطوب يا جابر المعطوف يا من هو مندوبي فعفوك مطلوبي يا دافع الخطوب يا جابر المعطوف يا من هو مندوبي فعفوك مطلوبي يا ستار العيوب يا غفار الذنوب يا ستار العيوب يا غفار الذنوب يا علام الغيوب يا كشاف الكروب.
And of course there's another question, and that is regarding buying a house. Every person needs a house, and house is one of the basic needs of an individual. Without a house, many people feel that they are living a very difficult life. Without a house, life is, of course, difficult for everyone. And to some people, it is almost unbearable to live without a house, because house means protection. House is an urgent need that you should have. Of course, some people do not feel the need to buy a house because they have the money to rent a house. and renting a house or buying a house makes no difference for them. So that is something. But if buying a house is necessary for you, and if it is considered in common view as an urgent need for you, and if it is considered in the eye of custom and the eye of urf as a necessity that you must fulfill, and of course buying a house is expensive. If you are going to buy a house, you have to have enough money, and you cannot provide the money, and you cannot afford to buy it with the income that you earn from your job and from your of course from your workplace, and the same year, and from the income of the same year, you cannot buy a house. Then in this case, the rules which I mentioned for the dowry are applicable to buying a house also. You can, of course, provide money, you can save money, and of course you have to, and it's not necessary to pay khums from the saved amount of money, because you are going to buy a house, and a house is a necessity, and without a house you are going to suffer from a great problem. You and your family will be unprotected. In this case, there is no khums on the money which you are going to use to buy a house. Of course, if you have enough money, and even if you give khums from the amount from that money, you still can buy and you still can afford to buy a house. You must give khums on that amount of money. There are people who are rich enough and who can buy who can buy a house without having to save money within several years or within many subsequent years. So as far as those people are concerned who are affluent, who are rich, of course they have to pay khums from the amount of money they have saved. And khums is a liability that they have to discharge themselves. They have to get themselves relieved from this liability and relieved from this obligation. This is an important question. Many people ask questions regarding buying a house and regarding the money they have saved over subsequent years to buy a house. So these were some of the rules regarding the income and the asset and the avenue which a person has. Of course, these rules which I explained and which I mentioned come under profit, under the annual profit which a person gains and which a person earns. Now, the second, of course, important issue which is discussed within the khums issue and within the khums topic, because khums is an expansive or an extensive topic which includes a number of sub-issues and subtitles. Now the second title which is discussed and which is of course which is included in khums is the minerals. Now, according to religious scholars, it's obligatory on a person who earns something from minerals, who, for example, extracts minerals like gold, silver, copper, iron, or maybe oil, and maybe agate, turquoise, and also salt or any other kind of minerals, even if they are like things like lime, like chalk. These things are considered to be minerals. And of course, it is necessary to pay khums on minerals immediately, provided that the amount of minerals or the value of the minerals should reach the taxable limit. The taxable limit. Now, what is the taxable limit as far as the minerals are concerned? Things like gold, silver, copper, oil, or lime, chalk, turquoise, agate, and such other things. The religious scholars have said that if the value of minerals reach 15 misqals of gold, 15 misqals of gold, then khums should be paid from the minerals. And of course, khums is always paid on the value of something, not on the mineral itself, because you are not going to divide, for example, lime or chalk or turquoise or agate into 5 portions and give 1 portion of that as khums to the needy. You have to calculate the value, the price of that thing, the market value of that thing, and then you have to give 1/5 of its value as khums to the needy. Of course, as I mentioned in the previous session, khums is divided into 2 portions. 1 portion belongs to the Imam, and the other portion belongs to the Sadat. As far as the portion of Sadat is concerned, you have to give it to the Sadat of themselves, because you have been allowed by the religious authorities, and according to some religious authorities, you have to seek your marja's permission. But many scholars, many religious authorities say that you do not need any permission if you are going to give the portion of Sadat to the needy Sadat, to the indigent Sadat. As far as the portion of Imam is concerned, as I mentioned in the previous session, it's necessary to give that portion to your marja, or otherwise you have to seek his permission in order to spend it in places as allowed by your mujtahid, by the marja whom you are following. You cannot and you will not spend it without the permission of your mujtahid. Permission is a must, and it is required. Without his permission, if you spend it, if you give it to a mosque, if you spend it on any charitable activities, then you will not be relieved of the obligation. You will still be under the obligation to pay khums, and you remain indebted. Now, as far as the minerals are concerned, you should just know that the taxable limit is 15 misqal. If the value of the minerals reach 15 misqals of gold, then it is necessary to pay khums from the minerals. Now, there's a question. The question is, what is a misqal? And if you want to calculate it in terms of grams, how much would it be in terms of grams? Of course, as far as I know, 1 misqal of gold is equal to 4.25 grams. To 4.25 grams. That is more than 4 grams, of course. 1 misqal is equal to 4 grams, to a little more than 4 grams, 4.25 grams. Of course, you may have to ask the jewelers, those people who sell gold, they know better, because as far as I know, there are different calculations when it comes to the weight of 1 misqal, because a misqal is an old actually rate. The gold and such things are now sold in grams, not in misqal for the time being, and you have to ask the jewelers as to how much is 1 gold in terms of grams. As far as I know, one misqal of gold is equal to 4.25 grams.
ناجيتك يا رحمن ودعوتك يا ديان يا خالق الإنسان الله 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 يا خالق الإنسان الله الله الله.
Now, further speaking regarding minerals, the minerals can be on your land and can be on a land which belongs to no one, or on the land of another person. Maybe you have rented that land, that piece of land. It does not make any difference whether it is your land or on someone else's land, or it is found on a piece of land which belongs to no one, and it does not make any difference whether the mineral is visible or it is under the ground. You find it by seeing the minerals, or you dig the ground and find the minerals. It does not make any difference. When it comes to the value of to the quantity and to the taxable limit, if the taxable limit reaches 15 misqals of gold, then it is necessary to give khums from that gold. And of course, if it is found on a rented piece of land, you have to inform the owner of the land. And of course, the owner of the land, it will be necessary for the owner of the land to give khums from that piece, from that minerals. And of course, if you have bought that piece of land, then the issues might be different. You need to refer to the treatises, to the epistles of Islamic laws written by the grand religious authorities for further details. And there is no doubt that the issue of minerals and the khums, the topic of khums, when it comes especially to minerals, to treasure trove, to gems found in the oceans, and also to the land which is bought by a zimmi, these are issues which normally people are not very much in touch with. And of course, I am just telling these things because of some people who might actually have minerals, who might be working on minerals. Of course, there are people in Muslim society who are working on minerals and who have their income from the minerals. And they have to know the rules. If a number of people jointly find a mineral, extract minerals from a mine, and if the value of the minerals found reach 15 misqals of gold, then again it's necessary to pay khums on that amount, even though the share of each person is less than 15 misqals of gold. But since the entire amount, the entire minerals calculated together reach the taxable limit, it is necessary to pay khums from the entire minerals whose value reaches 15 misqals of gold. The next important issue is the treasure trove. Now, what is a treasure trove? A treasure trove is a property which is hidden underground, or in a tree, or in a wall, or in a piece of land. It's a treasure hidden under the ground. It might be hidden by some people or by ancestors, and it might be hidden in your land, in a wall, or in a piece of land. It might belong to you or to the landlord, or it might not belong to anyone because it's hidden in a piece of land that does not belong to anyone. Now, if you accidentally find a treasure trove, it is necessary to pay khums from the treasure trove. And the question is, how much is the taxable limit? How much should be the value of the treasure trove if you are going to pay khums? the religious authorities have said that if the value of the treasure trove is 105 misqals of kind silver, 100 misqals of kind silver, or 15 misqals of kind gold, then it is necessary to pay khums from the treasure trove, and the khums is a duty that one should get relieved of. It must be given on the treasure trove, and it does not make any difference whether it is in your land or it is in a land that you have bought from someone else. Of course, if you have found a treasure trove from a purchased piece of land, you have to inform the previous owner, and if he says that it does not belong to him, you have to inform the owner before the previous owner to make sure that it belongs to him or does not belong to him. Of course, if no one says that it belongs to him, then you have to pay khums from the treasure trove. Otherwise, if the owner is found, you have to give it to the owner. And of course, if you find it from a piece of land which has no owner, you must give khums of that treasure trove. And as I said, the value of the treasure trove should reach 105 misqals of kind silver or 15 misqals of kind gold. This is the issue regarding the treasure trove. And of course, there are some other issues left, not regarding treasure trove and not regarding minerals, but regarding other topics, other items, and other things on which khums should be paid, and which of course is liable to khums, provided that they have to reach the taxable limit. And of course, in the next session to come, I will elaborate on those remaining titles and on those remaining things or items on which khums is payable. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا
يا ربنا
واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا ربنا ربنا يا ربنا يا ربنا